What's happening, everybody? What's going on? K Mega Fold 5 coming to you live from the Fold 5, where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. If you would be so kind, man, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Share this out. I want everybody to hear this, man. And I want to, and I'm not going to be as long as I have been. I mean, sometimes I've seen that was like, dang, I took it like an hour and a half. I'm not going to try to do that because that's still, it's a joyous day for me because of politics wise. I'm seeing, the first woman VP being brought up. I'm excited about that. Uh, and so anyway, that I'm joyous about that. But this is talking about gaming. We ain't talking about politics. So let me get right into it right now. We just got some sad news or some somewhat depressing news about Halo Infinite and that Halo is being delayed until 2021. I definitely want to bring a lot of that. I just want to just talk about it, man, because can't wait till GRG for this one. Or even next podcast. Since next has been moved to Thursday, so I just couldn't wait. I just had to get out, just break this down and talk about it. There's all different types of opinions. We've already heard them. I mean, this is only what been out from what about just a couple of hours, and people are already going crazy. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, no doubt about that. Everybody's entitled to that. Uh, thank you, game. Thank you, thank you, Tech. I appreciate that, bro. Well, oh yeah, Thrash. You're gonna hear this. You're gonna hear this. And listen, I don't care what people want to try to project how I what I just say what I feel. I don't come in here trying to sugarcoat anything or try to be passive or neutral. I say how I feel about it, and then that's it. You accept it or you don't. There's a lot of people that may take me a little abrasive, even people that I consider friends, but that's just me. I'm not changing who I am for anybody or for anything, and which means I'm not going to hold my tongue for how I feel, right, wrong, or indifferent. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and I'm going to hold that, you know, to that standard. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not flip flopping. I'm not trying to be cute about it. I'm not going to say, well, this here, that. No, if it is like it is, it's just what it is. This I don't hold my tongue for nothing. So, with that being said, let's just talk about this. Is this disappointing? Absolutely, it is. It's one of those things where you look at it from uh, two different perspectives. One, which is the worst perspective, is that the launch titles for Xbox for the X1X is very suspect. Not in a sense because there's some really good games that's coming, but I think that a lot of those games, except for maybe Scorn, still up in the air about Medium. People are saying that Medium is going to be a timed exclusive. It may be. I have no idea. But those are titles that will be coming up, and those titles will be nice looking titles. I mean, Scorn looks incredible. It just looks crazy. But that's not going to be something that where people are like, well, do I want a Series X for Scorn? I just don't see that. I see that there's going to be some freakazoids out there be like, yeah, I'll go ahead and cop that. But but when you look at it for overall for the launch title, there is only one game. You don't have to have you don't have to have Fable, Gears, Forza, uh, in the launch lineup when you have the mighty Halo that just stands and that will be the flagship for your launch. And with that not being there, that hurts it significantly. That's no question about that. So the first thing before anybody try to say is, well, hey, that's not. If anybody's trying to tell you differently, that is damage control. That hurts that lineup. That hurts the lineup, and it could make people just say, well, I'll just wait because PlayStation's is not better than but this is more about Xbox. This isn't really about PlayStation. PlayStation do at least have Spider-Man, even though this is a half-ass Spider-Man game, but it's still Spider-Man, and it still will attract people to the point. And I was even ready to debate even the most outlandish PlayStation fan, if this Spider-Man, if Miles Morales was how it was going to fare up against Halo. I would have still stuck my ground and saying Halo would have dominated because not only that Halo was going to be on the X, well, the Series X, but it was also going to be on PC. That's not the case now. So now when you look at it from this standpoint, PlayStation has the leg up for just that one title. I mean, both have really weak lineups if you really look at it from compared to what the 360 was. I'm not. I should say 360. I should say for what the Xbox One lineup was. Xbox One lineup was, damn, it was excellent. Um, but yeah, that hurts. That definitely hurts. The one reality behind this though is that one thing that I will not allow. I hear all this chirping. I seen Tim Dog say that I'll take the L. I'm looking at other people saying, "Man, yeah, it's bad." I'm seeing kids smooth over here tripping out. I'm like, bruh, sometimes you just need to let the chirpers get out your ear for a minute. Like I got plenty of respect for these guys, man. But I'm like, what L is going on? The L is if Halo came out in the holiday season and the game still continued to look like it did from what we seen. That's a fail. Or the game is botched or it's broken and then they take things away because of whatever reason that they try to compensate for it graphically. That's the fail. That's what we keep on forgetting about why these companies do these delays. Listen, all we have to do is just go and you watch a stream, or if you on a PlayStation 4 and you wanted to get the and you want to get Avengers, all you got to do is just watch that stream or play that game, and you'll see right there that their delays matter. That game is running on the PlayStation Pro at 25, 26, and those are for the people who cares about frames. It's frame rates of death, blah blah blah. You can't even maintain a steady 30, and we're talking about on the PlayStation Pro. That game it has a moment where it looks really good, then it has its moments where it looks average, and then it has a moment there where it's just like there's something missing there. Like they need a little bit more time to polish it. And that game got delayed, if you don't remember. I believe, I think it was announced this year that it was getting delayed. So the thing to me is where do you really want to cry about this, about Halo getting delayed, or do you want the best Halo experience that you could possibly get? It's either or. It's either or. Now I talked about this about a couple of weeks ago when we was hearing the rumors about 343 going through their issues, and obviously there must have been some issues because they're delaying the game. Now, does it have to do with the pandemic? Some of it does. But the other it's probably just because of just internal fighting amongst themselves, because you have one group that wants Halo to be something different, when you have another group that wants to cater to a certain demographic that is only going to complain and not like the game anyway, because they already complained about it for having run in it, that you could climb on stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you, when people got their hands on the game, if it wasn't delayed, they would have found another reason to be upset. Even though it came with the old school aesthetic, it got back on the ring. It did all these other things to cater to the Bungie Halo fan. They're not going to ever be happy with Halo until Bungie gets it back, and that'll never happen again. I can't say never. I don't know what the hell goes on within gaming like that. I can't ever say never. That's one thing I can't do. So I can't say never. But it seems very unlikely. Very unlikely that Bungie's ever going to get that game again. Now, there's some things that also need to be done internally between 343, because there's a lot of the left hand and the right hand don't know what the hell is going on with one another. It seems that way. Whoever allowed to get that to show that gameplay and to know and nobody didn't go through it thoroughly and check it before it came out, that was a fail. That was an absolute fail. And that's what caused some of this mess in the first place. But maybe it could have been a blessing in disguise, because if they came out and if this game was going to look anywhere similar to that, which I know it was going to be more polished, it wasn't going to be grunts running around, as 108 said, looked like a 70s ape from Planet of the Apes, a 70s actor from Planet of the Apes, just in a little monkey suit. That's crazy, right? They were gonna look more like grunts. I mean, not grunts, but brutes. But the point of the matter is, it still would have looked weird. So it could have been a blessing in disguise that we got to see it, and that gamers came out and said, look, it just ain't, man. This ain't it. This ain't it, bro. This isn't it. Now there's other people that's been saying, look, it looks good enough. I just care about the gameplay. The gameplay looks solid. We talked about that. But there's still so many other things with this game that needs to be done and needs to be addressed. The story is probably the most important for the, I would say the people that, well, it definitely is. I think, well, all right, let me try to break this down because there's like two or three different like Halo fans. Okay, there's the Halo fan, and people think that it's just a small group that just likes Halo 5, which is not true. Me included, of course. I've always said that. Hashtag save Lock. But then there's also a group that liked 4, but they still like, but they liked a little. They didn't like the stories of 4 and 5, and they liked the old school stories of the Halos when Bungie was in control or whatever. And they liked Reach, and they liked ODST. But they liked Halo 5's multiplayer. But then you have this other group that likes only just what Bungie did with the multiplayer, only likes the story, and doesn't want anything except for power ups and no and nothing from not even Warzone, nothing. And there was a lot of these guys that didn't got these men and women that did not even play the Halo 5 multiplayer, but they swear that they hate it because they didn't get what they wanted from the very beginning of the story. Or the elite that just got annihilated. That was a big time elite that Locke just kind of took out in a second. I get the story aspect of it. If you don't like the story and you want the story to kind of get back into form, that's cool. But the multiplayer should never devolve or it should never go backwards. It should escalate. It should never it should never go backwards. Never. Never. All you have to do is just go back and think about the Call of Duty games or even Battlefield. It was great because graphically those games look fantastic, but then after so long people are like, man, I'm tired of playing with old weapons. I want to hit modern weapons. I want to get back to the modern stuff. I want to get something more advanced. I don't want to play with these old weapons. And I don't understand why there's a group that only thinks that all the Halo fans want to stay with, especially with the multiplayer aspect of it, the same way. But 343 listen to these guys, and there's nothing wrong with them because they're a huge fan base. But it also is a problem because you see with the aesthetic, and I think that all around is why they have this turmoil at 343, and they're trying to do both things, and it's obviously taking a little bit longer than anticipated. And that's crazy. So I hope because I don't see this game coming early in 2021. I think it coming late. Like, I mean, I just think it's another, maybe at the earliest September, October, November release. And yeah, it'll have all the bells and whistles. It'll be right, and hopefully by that time we'll have vaccines, and people can getting back to some sort of normal to where everybody can work together and things like that. So hopefully now don't know, but hopefully that can happen. And then we'll get the better Halo that, because if they need the time, they need the time. I've seen plenty of people say that. But then once it actually came out, which you got to give 343 credit for, is to do this early instead of waiting until October and then saying, well, we got to delay it. I would be more upset at that point because at that time, we already going to know what the price of it is. We're already anticipating what games that we want to get. And then if you do it like that late, then again, you just kind of changed up everything, and that could change even people's perception of how they would want to, if they wanted to get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox. Just by that. So by them doing this early and nipping this in the bud and going ahead and having some of these people chirp into other people's ears, that I think that they did themselves a service because it's going to get talked about until Halo comes back. But how many times have we seen games being delayed? There's nothing wrong with the delay. The game that you're seeing right here with Ghost of Tsushima, it was delayed. Hold on, let me go ahead and just read some of these games just in 2020 that got delayed. The Last of Us, Cyberpunk, Avengers, it got delayed until September 4th. It definitely needs to polish. Um, let's go. Dying Light 2, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Gods and Monsters, Psychonauts 2, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Skull and Bones, the Dark Picture Anthology, Little Hope, which is the continuance or just maybe another story to the Medan story that came to that's the multiplat from the creators of Until Dawn. That today just got told. Just I seen that earlier today, where Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 that got delayed. Wasteland 3 got delayed. That was earlier, but it's got its release date here this month. Watch Dogs Legion got delayed, and I mean, and there's countless more smaller titles that got delayed within this year alone. So why is it now all of a sudden it's a fail? What's up with you, man? What's up with you, McCann? What's happening with you, Xavier? Appreciate it, bro. Coming on in. Appreciate you guys coming in, man. So what is the problem with the delays all of a sudden? So and listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion on everything. I respect that, but I will push back on it if I feel that there's some kind of suspect angle to it, especially if you're thinking if you're putting too much emotion behind it. And you can push back on me on it, that's fine. But you can't 1 minute say that delays are good and then the next jump out and say, "Oh, no, 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 no. No, we ain't going to do that. Nah, nah, this is a fail. This is wrong. This isn't right. This isn't right." Nobody knew what the pandemic was finna come in here and do this, and even from the point, because I seen stands and I seen a couple of people trying to come at me because I made my point about The Last of Us 2, where the developers themselves said that the game was Sony made the decision to push the game back. The developers came back and pushed back at Sony, and they made it public and said that the game was already done. And Sony said, well, there need to be more polish. There need to be this. There need to be that. And then I called that out. I called that out. And then a particular person, in the stand community was talking about, buses and planes and all this other stuff. And I'm like, look, they could just get rid of it. If it was all about hard copies, then they could just sell the game digitally, right? So they're trying to come back at me and try to make this like the same type of energy, and it's not. Because the developers of The Last of Us 2 was right. The game was pretty much done because if that leak didn't happen, people would have still put this point of saying, "Oh yeah, it was because of this, it was because of that." That game got delayed like what 3 to 5 times, and they said the only thing they had to do was put a little polish on it. It was ready to go. And then next thing you know, if the leak didn't happen, they still would have ran with it, but the leak exposed them and then they let the game go in 2 months. Come on. That just shows right there. So I told them, if you want to hit me with that, let's see what happens with Halo Infinite. If Halo Infinite comes out in 2 months after they just said that this is because of the pandemic, then you could throw that at me. You could throw the same energy at me, and yeah, that'll be fine because I'll definitely say, hey, they fraud the public. They lied. They must have did this for some kind of publicity stunt or whatever the reason could have been. Maybe they wanted to add more stuff to it, and they couldn't, and then they did it. Well, then that's different. But this is a totally different situation. Totally different. Totally different. And what would be funny though is if Halo comes out before The Last of Us 2's multiplayer come out. That would be funny because then you're talking about a game that got delayed, and then. But anyway, I digress. I'm not. This is about Halo. Let me keep it about Halo. I just make it some scenarios. Um, this is also the thing too, is like I said, the emotion factor is what's tripping me out. Right? Is they've worked on this game for 5 years. 5 years. And I've heard this from multiple people, not just one particular person that was giving me that explanation. They've worked on this for 5 years. And I mean, so what is it? Xbox games need to have less time to be worked on to be finished? See, this is the one thing that you got to give PlayStation fans credit for. Yeah, they'll be the ones, man. This is disappointing. This sucks. I was excited for this game to come out in September of 2019, and I just wanted this, and but man, I get it. I want this game to be the best that it can be. Why can't we have Xbox fans just get that in their hand? We want the game to be the best that it can be. If it's going to be bad at launch, then that's when you jump in their ass. You let 343 know, you let Xbox know, you let Phil Spencer know, hey, this is your flagship and this is all you giving us. This is you had a delay and this is what you provide for us. That's fair. But you say for all these other games, even my favorite game of the generation, The Witcher 3, got delayed. And it is what it. And when the game came out, it was still broken. And then they took time to patch. It's nothing worse. Nothing worse than a game that comes out at launch and then it's completely broken, and then you gotta wait for patches for it to get right. Nothing worse than that. And you do not want that to happen as your flagship. You just don't. So take the time. I don't get this. I don't understand it. It's the delay. It's not a cancellation. This isn't scalebound. This isn't. This isn't where that they that somebody. This is a delay. And if it's going to be a year from now, then it's going to be a year from now. You want the game to be right. You want it now. Like I said at the beginning of this video, was that or the stream, however you want to look at it. How it, what the Xbox One, what the Series X lineup will look like is going to be very, very, very light, very, very pedestrian, very parched. It's going to be very parched. PlayStation will at least have Spider-Man. So yeah, so Xbox got to make some moves. Now listen, Game Pass is a fantastic winning point. Um, but then you also have you got backwards capability, but that BC is not going to save not having Halo there. And Game Pass can alleviate a lot of the pain, and then the games that's going to be coming out on top of you got Cyberpunk, you got the Maddens, the 2Ks, you got the Call of Duties. You still have all of those things, and you have the most powerful console. But it's still, without Halo, it's still light. And the one thing that I see that the agenda is being pushed is that, well, Xbox has no AAA exclusives coming on it. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's a legitimate point. They can have it. But one thing that Xbox has to do is if they don't have anything lined up or any type of major surprise, they're going to have to win this by price. They cannot go out without you don't have a Halo, you don't have a Gears, you don't have a Fable, you don't have any of the big 3, 4 ready to go at launch. So you better start thinking about that price and be ready to undercut. Because if you come out and the consoles are still the same price, or if the Series X is even higher, yeah, Lockhart will alleviate a lot of the pain, but overall, it's going to come down to the financials it's going to come down to the pockets. That's exactly how PlayStation won this generation from the get. It was the pockets. People ain't playing. Better check out these economics. Better be checking out what's going on in the markets and things of that nature. The market is doing fine, but people overall, look at the the unemployment rate. Unemployment rate is ridiculous. It's crazy. So you think people are going to be waiting to spend an extra $100 and you don't have a flagship game or that game to get people riled up? You're going to be riding on the back of Madden when people could get it on the PlayStation and it's cheaper? People will go with PlayStation again because Xbox wouldn't be thinking logically. We've heard everything that they've talked about that they're ready to do that, and you see that they're ready to make the moves because they're playing chicken with one another. So what they really wanted, but without Halo now, you have no choice in the matter, in my opinion, unless you have to be complete. You better solicit your ass off. You cannot come out higher than the PlayStation 5. You cannot. You cannot. The Lockhart's going to be fine where it's at, but you cannot come out with it. You could have had that opportunity to do that with everything else that was involved, with Halo, Game Pass, BC, the most powerful console. You got Lockhart, all that stuff. But now without Halo, there's a whole different thing, whole different process. And I hope you guys agree with me on that because I mean, listen, what's going on with your bot? Because I just see that and yeah, it could have been one of those things where I've seen also people say, well, Xbox should have been planning for this. I don't think anybody's planning for any of this type of situation. Nobody didn't plan for the pandemic. Nobody didn't plan for that. Nobody didn't plan. This whole thing has been a whole trip. Now, how bad has it been for 343? That's another question. That's another question. I'm sure we're going to get a lot more information what's going on. But it does seem that because of everything that's going on from what the people that used to work there, what they've said, I don't believe all of that stuff, but that there is some kind of conflict. And it to me, and this is just my gut feeling about it. I know Xbot, he feels the same way about it. And anybody else with that that I've talked to about this feels that it's about this whole aesthetic, this whole old school, new school stuff. You don't see games progress. You just don't. And this is one of those things where I'm like, they it's not it's just weird to me. You got the Master Chief Collection. When you add you can add, well, they added all of them. The only one that's just not on there is Halo 5. And I still think that they'll add Halo 5 to the Master Chief Collection at some point in time. I don't know when, but I mean I'm pretty sure they want to put Halo 5 onto PC too. Um but it's more to it just doesn't make sense of having such a great multiplayer. Just fix the story. That's it. Just fix the story. Get back into what you was trying to do, and then let it ride. And then if this is, and since this is the most ambitious Halo of all time, which is going to go with the 10-year cycle like Destiny and things like that. It's not going to be like Destiny in a sense, but I think by giving expansions and stuff like that to progress in the story, give a lot of side stories, get a lot of broaden the universe. I don't have no problem with that whatsoever. But I've seen so many of the old school Halo fans. They're mad because they can't even get a number. Like I want to see Halo 7 so I could see what this go. Bro, come on, come on, come on. That's not the ticket. But I definitely think that that's one of the reasons why they having the conflict that they're doing. And now I've seen one of the lead developers at 343 was talking about if anybody has this type of experience, they're willing to hire. Like that's crazy. Like who the hell knows what's going on? But if there's any more turmoil, issues, or problems, then Phil Phil or Matt Booty, uh, whichever one's that's in charge of that, needs to start laying down the law. Either get it in gear or you got to be gone. Just too much controversy already. And of course, when you add on with the chirpers, that constantly just every day, it's the same thing every day. It doesn't matter. They wake up, want to chirp, talk bad about how Xbox is. This is just giving them and the delay thing should just be completely looked over. Like I said, Tim Dog and Smooth and them. Like I don't know, Tim. There is no L because Halo what's called now. This is a conversation that he had with somebody and then they made a bet or they were saying this and they were saying that and then Tim said, well, I'll take the L for what I said. Then that's different. But for all this, come on, man. No, it's just a delay. It's not the end of the world. And if you're an Xbox fan, it shouldn't stop you from getting. Because I guarantee you this: if Spider-Man wasn't even on the ticket, PlayStation fans are still going to buy them a PlayStation. They're not going to stop. They're going to say, well, I'll wait. I'll still play my PlayStation 4. until I see the game that I really want on my PlayStation 5 for the PlayStation 5, but it's not going to stop me or hinder me from getting a PlayStation 5. It's just not. It's they're never going if they are fully invested into the PlayStation ecosystem, the games, just the way that they do things on the PlayStation, then they're not going to get an Xbox. If they're a multi-game, if they're a multi-console owner or a multi-platform owner, then they'll get the Xbox later on down the line when it's cheap enough for them to get. But they're still going to get the PlayStation. So how in the hell is Xbox fans still not in this thought process, thinking that this all is doom and gloom? There's too many people that is accepting the doom and gloom outlook for gaming, bro. I posted something about this woman that was getting ridiculed by by a woman to her kid. That's bad. That's horrible. Because this woman was disfigured or whatever, and so this woman just decided to show her kid and make fun of the woman, the disfigured woman, and then that type of garbage is foul. That's bad. That's doom and gloom type of shit. But consoles, this whole aspect of everything, oh, Xbox is almost done. It's almost out of here. At one point, listen, if Xbox didn't leave once they were right there at the end or the beginning of this generation, then that would have been something. I mean, okay, let me say that again because my dog was over here messing with me. What you want, Briggs? What you want? You don't want to go outside, do you? Yeah, okay. You want to try to go somewhere? I'll be there in a minute. I'm about to get off here in a minute. But anyway, if Xbox was going to be taken out, then this was the best opportunity in the beginning of this generation for it to be gone, to be sold out, to be done. They're making too much money now. Xbox is not going anywhere. Now, the game situation, they got the games. Do you got to wait? Yeah, looks like it. That's going to be the question. Will gamers want to jump in on the console at the beginning of launch, or are they going to wait and just be happy with their Xbox One X, or they're just a regular Xbox, or whatever? That's the fundamental question. That's why I say that is the point right there where Xbox has to make the decision on what they're going to do to fill in that gap. Now, if they got some more surprises up in store, then that's great. But if that ain't coming at launch, then they still have to think about that. That's the only dilemma for that situation. PlayStation just got enough with the Miles Morales to bring in some fans. But if you're an Xbox fan and you're getting an Xbox, stop listening to the chirpers and just get the damn console. We're gonna be playing the games. We're gonna be enjoying them. We're gonna do this, and then just like I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a PlayStation later on. I mean, I'm not. Miles Morales was a game that was going to be that was a part two to Spider-Man, and it was going to have all the bells and whistles and be a brand new game. Then I've been like, whoa, you know what? And if the price is right, cool. Then I'm gonna have to try to budget to get both of them. But I'm not. I'm not. I already know where I'm getting. And if you're an Xbox fan, that's where you should be thinking about too. But do not think that this is. But don't get crazy about this and think that this delay is is the end of whatever. And also, if the game is just not going to be up to par, then that's when you go after them. But that needs to be when that game's at launch. That's why I wasn't going to jump on the Avengers game because it's in beta. They got time to work on it. It's coming out September 4th. I know that that's a real short time, but hey, if they're working on it night and day to make sure that they get it all polished up and worked out, at least get that frame rate somewhat better if they can, then so be it. But then the game should be judged once that game is out and available. And I still say the same thing for Halo 5. So, let's see. Rob, he says 343 Series S to be the lowest common denominator or whatever. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I agree. I think that's one of the reasons. I don't know if this is the thing. Well, this is also something that I think that maybe I've seen somebody else post this. I think it was Paris or somebody else. I can't remember, but it made sense to where that they were saying that it was only going to be a Series X game only. That's it. That should be it right there. Series X PC. That should be the winning ticket right there. Don't maybe that could be the whole thing to where that they were trying to do all these other things to alleviate for that 2 years, and they're just like, no, just go ahead and put it on the Series X. Just make it the Series X game. If they're having issues like that, then just just say it and then just put the game out there like that. Because I mean, we've always had games to come out in every generation that didn't live up to the billing, and they look the same. As though to the older console. I mean, you just look at, and then there's some of those times when you look at some games and you're like, whoa, Rise, for instance, didn't look like anything that we've ever seen. Looked fantastic. Um, but then you look at a game like Titanfall. Titanfall looked good, played fantastic. But I mean, you would think that that game would be playing on older hardware, but then when they did make the game for the older hardware, it just couldn't keep up. So if they're trying to be very ambitious with what they're doing with Halo, then let it just stay on the Series X and the Lockhart. That I don't see anything wrong with that. It's okay that you have to go back and you have to say something. Yeah, Phil, you get held under the fire because if you say one thing and then you go and you change it up, then they're gonna condemn you for it. But it's just no different than anybody else. I mean, what did Yoshida say about backwards compatibility? What did they all say about games just staying on one platform? I mean, the only difference is that nobody don't really hold PlayStation's reps accountable because they don't get out like Phil and them do. Some people say that Phil shouldn't be getting out there like that, but it is what it is, man. I don't mind the transparency. It's just the thing for me is if you made a mistake and if things have to change, then just say it has to be changed. And if people want to bitch and complain about it, let them bitch and complain about it. They're still going to buy the product. They're still going to buy Halo. They're still going to support it. So I don't know, man. I had one more point, and I think it left me. Oh well, it is what it is. I Anybody have any questions or anything before I get out of here? So I just wanted to give my piece on it. Like, just don't don't trip out on it. Like, it's a delay. Don't let the people that's in your ear keep telling you that this is the signs of Xbox going downhill, blah 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 blah. It's just them wanting just to feel like they got to win, and it's not. It's just a delayed game. Just a delayed game. It is what it is. So, but yeah, no, it's Halo. Yeah, bats. It's Halo, but it's it's not going anywhere. Halo is not going anywhere. So that's the thing. It's not. Let them develop it. Let them get it done, and then that's it. I mean, and like I said, if the game is still not up to snuff or whatever, which I just can't see that the game gets delayed and then the game is not ready to go. I mean, we have seen games like that, but I mean, not the flagship, not the flagship. So I don't know, man. I'm about to get the hell out of here. I just, like I said, I wasn't going to stay here that long because I could talk about this for another hour or so. I mean, but we'll be talking about this Thursday night on Xbox 448's channel. Since we moved the next podcast to Thursdays, I think it's going to be 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. The GRG podcast every Friday night, 8:30. I always say 8. I always put the 8:35 because I already know we're going to come in a little bit later. We got to wait for some people to come in, and then, but but 8:30 Central, 8:30, 8:35ish Central Time, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, man. So yeah, check me out. Check me and my crew out on GRG, and make sure that you check. If you don't watch it on here, then check it out on Twitch. We'll sit there and I do stream. So some people I forgot to turn it off because I left it on, and so I streamed Sea of Thieves. So and so I apologize for the people that was there because I know that there was comments and I just didn't see them. So I apologize for that because I didn't know that I had it on. But I could definitely I could do a double stream every once in a while. And catch out Fight Night every Sunday night. Every Sunday night at 9. It's 9:30 ish. Um, Central Time. And man, where we just play a whole bunch of fighters, man, have a good time, all that other stuff. And man, and check out everybody else from the GRG podcast and from the next podcast, man. All those people are doing really good work, man. That have shit, all that stuff in the community section where you see 108, you can see PK, you see Live Wire. Well, Live Wire don't put a lot of content, but when he does, check it out. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody else that's a part, man. Couldn't do that stuff without those fellas, and so man, got to represent. And then big shout out to the Grown Women Gaming for them doing their thing and all of that, man. And everybody out there, man, appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for coming and checking out all of this. I really do. So I will talk to you guys here later on in the week. Peace.